I'm going to start with the biggest worry, I think, on the offense. It's a big worry on the offense. I'm looking at the Pro Football Focus grades, and it matches the eye test. Gio Lopez was the second worst graded player on this North Carolina team. So 30 players played for the North Carolina offense. Some of them, one snap here, two snaps there. But for people that played over 30 snaps, Gio Lopez graded out the worst. He was a 45.8. You're looking at his numbers. 10 of 18, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Glass half full, he took care of the ball. Glass half empty, I think North Carolina fans would have expected a little bit more production from him in a game against Richmond. And I do think it's a bit of a sign for fans to be worried about that. He really hasn't looked like a power forward quarterback, at least through 3 games yet.
Yeah, I agree. He was not great in my opinion. He missed some throws early. Even on the first touchdown throw to Ship, he had him open right away, didn't put it on him, threw a high ball. Ship makes a good catch, and obviously no one's around him within 10, 15 yards, and he runs in the end zone. He looked a little shaky to me. He missed a throw to Kobe Pacehour in the second quarter. That he had him wide open, and he was obviously kind of throwing on the run a little bit, but that's a ball that needs to be put on Kobe's body and then needs to be a touchdown. I'll give him credit for not turning the ball over and playing a semi-clean game, but he's missing some reads. He missed a quick 3rd and 5 that he ended up taking off and running, that we had a wide open receiver in man-to-man coverage. The eye test didn't look great. He is a big question mark for me on the offense. But the thing I'll say is I'm really excited about Juju. Damon June, we found a player in him, and we talked about it Charlotte game, and he's going to get a bulk of the snaps going forward. And even after this performance, I mean, he's our bell cow back. He has a different burst. He showed me some patience running the ball. He kind of got that figured out. I think he's a good player. He's not a Michael Carter, Javonte Williams, Ty Chandler type, but he's a very, very serviceable, good running back. He's a true freshman, so he hasn't had much experience, but he is getting better by each game, and each snap he takes, he is producing. And that's the thing at running back. You need a productive player, and he's going to be our bell cow going forward. So that to me is the positive of the game.
By far for this North Carolina team, the biggest positive to come out of this game was Damon June. 14 carries, 148 yards, 1 touchdown, 10.6 yards per carry. I think what you hit the nail on the head with him. He showed a lot more patience in this one, and he still found a lot of success. And you also mentioned Michael Carter, the most rushing yards for a UNC freshman since 2017. When it was Michael Carter having a strong game. So it does feel like Damon June is this next back up in this line of great North Carolina running backs, where it goes back to Gio. Would you say Gio is the start of like the great North Carolina running backs that they've had consecutively, where they go from Gio, Romar was in there, Elijah Hood's in there, TJ Logan's in there, Javonte, Michael Carter, and just recently Amar and Hampton. It does feel like Carolina found something in Damon June. When you're entering week 4, I'm not sure anybody from this North Carolina staff could have seen how productive Damon June was going to be. But if you're in that coaching staff now, how are you kind of shifting your mindset to be like, we found something, we have to start shifting our offense so he's the feature. We find more ways to get him involved, find more ways to run our stuff through him.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and fans are probably wondering, why was he not the guy that we put out in the first snap versus TCU? And the interesting thing about running back to me is it goes back to us not tackling a bunch, going live in training camp, and you can't really judge a running back until they get live bullets in the game and they play a defense, and the defense is tasked with bringing them to the ground. So you can't really judge a running back until you're going live. And maybe that's, maybe we were trying to get some of our older guys, more experienced guys, reps early in training camp and early in the season because we knew what we had with them. But I give credit to Natron Means for throwing June out there and being like, look, we're not having enough production from this position. We got this guy that we recruited, we think highly of, and let's get him a shot. So I really respect our coaching staff for putting this true freshman out there early in the season and seeing what he's got. The positive for me about June is we threw a nice screen to him, so he's shown some flashes of being able to have success not only in the power run game, a little bit of burst. He's not the top end TJ Logan speed, but he hits the hole hard. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. We haven't seen him really pass protect yet, but that's kind of where we'll do running back by committee and have Caleb Hood come in third down and pass protect and do some of that stuff. But it was also interesting to see Ben Hall not play at all. We're not have any carries, not having many snaps as he did versus Charlotte. So yeah. We're kind of using these first 3 games to evaluate our talent, which I love. We're going running back by committee, but going forward, I think June is going to get a bunch of the carries, and he's deserved it. So that's my take on that. I think we found a good one in him.
Yeah, and I think when Bill Belichick and Lombardi came to North Carolina, one of the things that people kind of emphasized was, this isn't the LSUs, this isn't the Alabamas. North Carolina is going to have to find some diamonds in the rough. And it feels like they did that with somebody like Damon June. And as Carolina goes to the UCF game, as Carolina goes to the Clemson game, like he is going to be, if North Carolina is going to find success offensively, it feels like he is going to have to be a major part of that offense. The other note that I had from the offense, I think Jordan Shipp is emerging as the clear wide receiver 1 for this North Carolina team. Gio Lopez doesn't always hit wide receivers in stride outside of the first series in the Charlotte game and the first series in the TCU game, where you're looking for him to have better rhythm in the offense. But it seems like he has started to establish a connection with somebody like Jordan Shipp. And against Richmond, Jordan Shipp was a magnet where, half of his catches go for touchdowns. And then the other note I had was it was nice to see North Carolina's tight ends getting more involved. We mentioned last week that North Carolina's tight ends only had 1 catch for like 3 yards through the first 2 games. And then in this game alone, you have Jake Johnson, 3 catches, 30 yards. Is that more in line the production that you're looking for from this North Carolina offense when it comes to their tight ends?
Yeah, definitely. I was happy to see Johnson have a couple catches. Actually, Gio missed him on the first drive in the end zone. He threw a way high ball. And like I said in the last pod, I don't think these tight ends are super elite. I just think they're very serviceable, solid players. But we do need to find ways to get them the ball because, most of the time in their alignment, they're, attached to the end of the, offensive tackle. So their routes are more in the middle of the field, which is, easy completions for Gio. And that's kind of what he needs to get going. But also we need to utilize them in the red zone. And that kind of brings me to my next point of our red zone offense was not good. And it hasn't been good the last 2 games. In the first half, we were 1 for 3 in the red zone scoring touchdowns. When an offense starts driving in the red zone, the defense's main objective is to make them kick a field goal. That's a win for the defense if they get down there. And we, through the first 3 series, we scored 1 time and then we had to kick 2 field goals. So we're leaving points on the board. At the end of the first half, it should have been 28-3. So that, I'd like to see our play calling, our execution, our offensive line get more knockback in the red zone because there's not as much space as in the open field. So we need to get that cleaned up. We can't be settling for field goals, especially because we're not a, super explosive offense. We don't have a ton of playmakers. So when we get the ball down in that area, we need to find a way to get the ball in the end zone. And then the other thing that I didn't like from our offense in the first half was, there's 2 things. The 2-minute drive we had right before the half, we get the ball back, 2 minutes to go, 2 timeouts. and we don't put any points on the board. That should be a quarterback's dream is, 2-minute drill right before the half. You got plenty of time. You got a full field. And we made some plays to advance the ball past midfield, and then we take a sack, fumble. Obviously, we get the ball back, but we end up punting. And against a team like Richmond, you got to execute and at least get a field goal out of that. We get no points. So that was disappointing to see. And then the other disappointing thing for me was when our defense gets a goal line stand. Okay, great defense from them, and we get the ball back. Our offense is on the 3 or 4 yard line, and we do not get a first down to give ourselves some field position. We do a 3 and out, gain 6 yards, and then punt the ball right back to Richmond. When our defense has a big stand like that, our offense, their main objective is to at least get a first down and advance the ball, let the defense rest a little bit. But those 2 drives were the most disappointing to me, was not being able to put points on the board before the half and then not being able to get a first down after a great goal line stand. That's the complementary football we talk about. And that was very, very bad execution from us on both of those drives. And I know the coaching staff is harping on those 2 possessions specifically. The 3 things: red zone offense, 2-minute drill, and not being able to get a first down after a goal line stand from our defense. Those are the three glaring things for me.